just tell you guys that the show is we're gonna dip into a valley, but then we're gonna come back up. Okay, I promise. But I would be remiss. I would be remiss if I did not talk about these things because, but for the grace of God, go I. A 21-year-old sister. Her name was Asia. Asia liked to play basketball. Asia was from Dallas. Asia would go to the courts and hoop with the dudes. And one of her friends, a man who was 10 years her senior, but that doesn't make a big difference. Number one, I mean, she was an adult. And I don't know formally the relationship between these two. It has just been described as friendly. So long story short, Asia was in a pickup basketball game. And then we're going to play the story actually. But the long and the short of it is this young woman was shot and killed by a man that she considered her friend, because she beat him in a game of basketball. And we're going to pick up the story right here with Fox 29 out of Dallas. And let me give everybody, and this is a trigger warning. I don't even know if this qualifies as domestic violence. Perhaps it's a form of domestic violence because they were acquainted and they knew each other. Even though they weren't in an intimate partner relationship, at least not that has been reported. But the violence against women that is so casual and so easy and so it's just so final, like it's not enough to just harm us. Like people want to literally kill us. And for why? But let's pick up the story again from the Fox affiliate in Dallas.
Yeah, Steve, police haven't given us the name of a suspect or a motive yet, but Asia Womack's mother tells me the 21-year-old was shot 5 times and killed by a man she had befriended and helped, someone that she called a friend. Hard to understand, reportedly getting angry over losing a basketball game to a woman and then killing her. And because she was supposedly a friend, even more difficult for this family to understand.
Asia loved basketball.
Yes, she did.
She loved basketball to the point to where she died doing what she loved. And she shouldn't have died that way.
A mother mourns her murdered daughter, 21-year-old Asia Womack, killed Monday evening after playing basketball at T.G. Terry Park, just up the street from her home, where family gathered, grieving.
This was supposed to be a friend of Asia's. She's eaten with this man, she's fed him, and he turned on her and killed her in a vicious way.
Womack was a whiz at basketball, playing her high school days at Madison. Monday, family says she was in a pickup game at the park, playing against the guy who is said to have shot her, and she won. The family also says there was trash talk, too.
But this is so senseless. This is so, you become embarrassed, basically, because a female beat you in basketball.
According to the family, the shooter took his kids and brother home and came back to the park, shooting Asia Womack 5 times. Cameras at this store possibly capturing the car speeding away. We're told detectives took the video.
Detectives are still working the case. No one is in custody at this time. They've been working it since Monday night, trying to find justice for Ms. Womack.
My prayer is that justice be served, that he is found and that he will give up or turn himself in.
If you know where he is, where his whereabouts are, please turn him in. Help the family out. We're hurting.
So homicide detectives are trying to track down this person right now. Listen, Crime Stoppers offering a $5,000 reward if you know where he is for any information leading to arrest and conviction of the man who shot and killed 21-year-old Asia Womack.
All right, Sean Rabb, live from Dallas Police Headquarters. Thanks, Sean.
Will, can we get the article up from Fox 29? So the update on the story, number one, this happened, the package that we just saw aired on October 3rd. October 20th, Dallas man arrested for allegedly murdering woman 21 who beat him at a basketball game. And Cameron Hogg, age 31, was arrested this past Thursday and charged with murder. And all I can say is, even though, as much as I want the police abolished and the prison system abolished, until the community starts collecting abusers, rapers, and murderers, jail is the only place I can think of that he can be, or 6 feet under. Now, I'm not advocating violence, but we have to talk, y'all. Like, we seriously have to have a conversation. Okay. We really have to have a conversation about the way that we are raising our boys. Okay. Because let me say this, and the ways that they develop into men. This lady, this woman, this young lady, Asia Womack, was hooping. Okay. When I say sis was hooping, sis must have been hooping. You know how impressive it is. I'm not, because number one, not all men are athletically inclined, but they do expect for them to have, that is, the men expect for, just by default of them being male, there are certain sports that they should be better at than girls. Okay. And the fact that the father or her stepfather there was talking about, there was trash talk involved. If Asia was whooping ass on that basketball court, Asia should have been talking all the fucking shit. Okay. She should have been talking all the shit. And the links that society, but in certain situations, individuals will go to humble a black woman. Like, this bitch can't be out here talking shit to me. I have to humble her, right? I'm sure he was throwing elbows. I'm sure he was giving hard fouls. I'm sure he was trying to dunk. And guess what, nigga? You still got your ass whooped. And Asia should have been confident and safe to talk her shit because she backed up her athletic prowess on that court. That's not some shit to go shoot up somebody over. I don't know if they was playing for money. I don't even give a fuck. Was they playing for money? None of it was worth anybody losing their life over. And just think about how deep in his feelings Cameron Hogg must have been, if, as alleged in these news reports, that he left, took his kids home, took his brother home, found her, and shot her 5 times. And I think toxic masculinity is an accurate description of that, but I think it's just a little too flimsy, because something is the matter with some of our men in our society, because patriarchy has it such that these men never want to be at the level of a woman, because a woman is always beneath a man in every aspect. There is maybe with the exception of domestic labor. What else are some areas that men are comfortable with women being better at than them, right? It's always some shit that's gendered and affiliated with so-called women's work or whatever. But if a woman is equal and or better than a man in an area that he considers his territory, violence is not beyond the realm of options available to the man to make himself feel better about being lowered to the status of a woman. Okay? The reason why some men get so upset about being called a bitch is because how dare you compare me to a female, dog? What you think, I am some female out here? We all know females is weak. We all know females ain't shit. Don't call me no female out here, dog. And the fact that we have to wait when there is violence committed against women, we have to wait on the police to act, right? Still is very bothersome to me, because abusers and people who would take such a drastic reaction like Cameron Hogg allegedly did against Asia Womack, I'm sure that's not his first time ever being violent towards a woman. I'm willing to bet as the reporting comes out about this individual in the coming days and weeks, we're going to find, chances are, he has a history of domestic violence. He has probably been violent towards women in the past. He's only 31. And the other part about this that makes me break my heart so deeply for Asia is that this man was purported to be a friend of hers. And as somebody who has been harmed by men that I have considered to be my friends, I understand what a violation that is. I understand what a betrayal that is. Because the friendships between men and women oftentimes are lopsided because somebody might have other intentions. One party may have different intentions unbeknownst to the other party. So one party is completely in the dark about what the actual dynamics of this friendship are. Meanwhile, another party is doing all the friend zoned things, but scheming on the draws the entire time, right? I feel for her because I know I obviously cannot know what it's like to be just harmed in the way that Asia was harmed, but in the ways that I have experienced that violation and betrayal, she never saw it coming. She never saw it coming. She did not think that her friend would be capable of doing that to her. I mean, and you can kind of see the disbelief on her parents' face, right? Like they were like, just she knew this guy. She helped this guy out. Like he killed her of all people, and what he killed her over? There's something really wrong here, y'all. Like we need to be teaching our boys that number one, girls are not less than, and that young men, you are not less than a man if a woman beats you at something. And you should not be inspired to violence or embarrassment or humiliation. And let me just say, and I know potentially, I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that after, I'm sure Asia was talking her shit on the court, righteously so. But I bet you it was the other brothers chiming in that probably made him go over the edge. Because again, there's something about being roasted over a female, it regardless of what the scenario, but if the female is in the situation somehow, men being roasted by each other over a female makes them niggas zap out. They go into a different part of their brain and they are unable to process or deal with that embarrassment. And because men are so easily socialized to violence, that is their go-to. And it didn't have to be the gun. He could have put hands on her. You know what I'm saying? But the gun belies the premeditation of the act because he had plenty of time to calm down and go in a different direction. He didn't have to come back to the fucking basketball court. My guy, you were home. For all intents and purposes, you dropped off your kids, you dropped off your brother, you could have stayed right where they was. You didn't have to go back there, but you had to put that bitch in her place. You had to humble that bitch. You had to let that bitch know that that bitch was not better at you than at anything. And I want to know why. What is it in some men that drive them to that? And if you know them other men, smack the fuck out of these goddamn men. I'm tired of these fucking problematic, misogynistic dickheads inflicting harm and violence upon women. I'm tired of it. You niggas need to start beating the shit out of these niggas. Like I don't know how else to say it. I'm over it. Fucking over it. I want to send my deepest condolences to Asia Womack's family there in Dallas. We're going to follow this story. The contradictions that I feel about the prison system and the police, but at the same time, I want to see this motherfucker under the goddamn jail. I'm gonna have to reconcile with that. Anyway, let's take a quick pause.